Hey everybody, Anthony here. It is Saturday, March 18th, 2023. Shabbat Shalom to everyone this Sabbath day. Today's video is actually going to be I'm going to repeat some things that I wrote on this devotional I did back in July of 2020, because a lot of it is still relevant, or even more relevant today as it was back then, over 3 years ago. There's a Latin term called nemine contradicente. It means of one mind. And that's the title of the devotional that I did. With nobody contradicting, of one mind, without dissent. A phrase used to indicate the unanimous consent of a court or legislative body to a judgment, resolution, vote, or motion. I think this phrase, nemine contradicente, signifies the one mind or the one mindset that's being formed today and coming into fruition each day more and more. This one world system, this one world government that's biblically talked about, that's prophesied about, that will come together in the last days, and its sole purpose is to go, or as Matthew Henry puts it, to push an unholy war against Messiah with the utmost vigor. And thereupon, councils are called, cabals are formed, all their wits are at work to find out ways and means for preventing of the establishment of Messiah's kingdom. This New World Order, one world government, whatever you want to call it, beast system, I call it a lot, is coming together for one purpose. Yeah, they're going to sell it. You're going to own nothing and be happy. You're going to live in a 15-minute city. You're going to be able to walk out your door, go to work, shop, get your medical care, all within this nice little area. And yeah, if you go on and see the 15-minute cities that are being set up in China, you'll see that there's facial recognition, there's barbed wire, razor wires involved, permissions involved in needing to move from point A to point B if you go outside your little circle or your little enclosure that you're sort of like you have you ever have a hamster, or your kids have a hamster in a cage and it runs on the wheel and it goes to and fro. Yeah, it's allowed to go anywhere in the cage that it wants, and you, the master, can do whatever you want with that little hamster. You could take it out of the cage if you want once in a while and let it run around in the garden or wherever. And that's just the way they want to keep people corralled. And that's how this system's going to operate. And so what we're seeing, especially over the last 3 years, and now with the banking system collapsing, so they say, it's just morphing into something else. They want a one world digital CBDC cashless system because it enables them to control each individual much better. The individual will have to use or come upon that system, and everything that they spend their money on will be tracked and traced and be able to be tied into the system, what the system wants or how the system wants you to live. So, this one mind that's coming together, it has a mission. Its mission, it has tentacles. It's far-reaching for what we think is today every sector. We think about government, law enforcement, military, academia, entertainment, corporations, industry, state and local governments, businesses, banking. You could make lists a mile long. All of these entities are coming together and forming this one mind, because they're all going to be on the same page in the end, forming this system that even Prince Charles talked about in a speech he gave, I think it was over a year ago, that we're going to muster up all the trillions of dollars of the world. All the world's military forces will be marshaled for this one person. And he mentioned a he. He knows there's an Antichrist coming. They know there's an Antichrist coming. Their bloodlines trace back, if you look close, and you read books like biblical books like First Enoch, Second Esdras, Jubilees, you'll see that these Nephilim bloodlines, these evil demonic bloodlines still exist to this day. That's why world leaders intermarry, and they only, they control very tightly who's in power, who they marry, what happens, who's put in place, because they want to keep their bloodlines pure. Why? Because in the coming days, when the Antichrist comes, they're being promised a seat at the table. That's basically how it's going down. Do a lot of people like to talk about it? No. Not a lot of people want to talk about it. Much of the church is asleep, although they say there's revival going on. I'll believe there's revival going on when people get back to basics, when they get back to reading their Bible and doing what it says. You follow Yahushua Jesus, you say you love him with all your heart, soul, mind, and strength, but yet you do not want to follow his commandments. You can't have it both ways. You can't have, I love and I'm a follower of Yahushua, and I don't obey one law that he says, or I don't pay attention to one command he says, because he nailed it to the cross. That's the farthest thing from the truth. That's one of the biggest lies ever told by the church today. He fulfilled the law. He didn't do away with the law. And that's a whole nother video. But this one mind system that's coming to fruition is going to be practicing evil. Although they won't call it that, they're going to call it for your own good or for your benefit. We have to do this, this, and this, or this has to be put in place. Yahushua Jesus talks about by their fruit you'll recognize them. So those of us that are truly fully devoted Talmudim disciples of his, followers of his, will be able to pick this out very easily. Very easily. They will afflict, to cause pain or suffering to, persistent suffering or anguish. I think we've seen plenty of that over the last 3+ years. They will oppress. They will crush or burden by abuse of power or authority. They will crush everything that comes in the way of building this system. And we see that as you could just look on the nightly news. When there rises something that comes against that they don't want it to be, it gets crushed or put down or discredited, or the media goes out and does its thing. It looks to destroy, to ruin the structure, organic existence of, or condition of. It looks to destroy anything in its path, this one mind system. It looks to attack, to set upon or work against forcefully, to do battle against, a general encounter between armies. And we see that in this world war that's breaking out. People taking sides. They get you to take one side or the other. I'm for Ukraine or against Ukraine. I'm for Russia or against Russia. It's just to get you into one or two camps. What they're doing is they're playing around. This world system that's coming together is going to have one leader. It's going to have one military. It's going to have one system of government. It's all coming together, and they're orchestrating like a great orchestral performance and setting us up for the end game. So when you think they don't like each other, or Biden doesn't like China, or China doesn't like Biden, or they don't like Putin, and Putin doesn't like this, they're all on the same page at the end. Yeah, they may have some disagreements on how the system's going to form, but it's going to form. They're fooling the general public, the common man. They cause trouble, a state or condition of distress or annoyance. What do we see on the news every day? We see trouble. We see destruction. We see things exploding, trains derailing, food processing plants burning down. We see chemical spills, nuclear leaks. We see trouble at every corner because that's the state or condition they want to get us into. And now we're seeing financial calamity, bailouts, although they won't call them that. We see the rich and those in power running for cover, or so they think they're running for cover. So this system causes offenses, something that outrages the moral or physical senses. And with all the attacks on morality and everything that's true and just and right biblically, they're doing their best to discredit. And then when you don't agree with it, they discredit you or cancel you. It's a very simple process if you look at it, and they want to get you always and keep you always off balance or off kilter. It's like a boxer, two men fighting in the ring, and what are you taught to do as a boxer? That jab that you give is meant to keep your opponent off balance, and you get him off balance enough where you could set him up or move in for the kill and hit him with the final barrage of punches. Well, these jabs that we're getting from this beast system that's coming together are doing their best to keep people off balance, going from one event to the other, and keeping you, am I going to lose all my money today? Am I going to be able to buy food tomorrow? Am I going to have a job? Where am I going to live? What's going to happen? Can I pay my car payment? Is there a nuclear threat coming? And every day on the news, they push this system because it's of one mind. You ever hear the news clips once in a while, and every media source says the same thing? Because it's all coming down from one source. It's all coming down. They're getting their scripts and they're going forward with it. Why does Hollywood do what they do? Because it's all scripted. It's all meant to get the common man into this belief that the system that's coming is for their own good. It's going to be for their health. And I'll close with this. In Psalm 2, and I'm not going to go over all the points I did in the original devotional, it says in verse 1, "Why do the nations conspire and the peoples plot in vain?" Verse 2, "The kings of the earth take their stand and the rulers gather together against the Lord." So these adversaries that we're seeing, these people of one mind, are coming against ultimately Yahuwah's system. They want to usurp, Satan wants to usurp Yah's kingdom. That's the purpose. That's the battle plan. Okay? "Let us break their chains," they say, "and throw off their fetters." Verse 4 says this, "The one enthroned in heaven," not the one that they invoke, when they say, "God bless America" and "God bless our troops," what they're really saying, the God they're invoking is Hashatan or Satan. They're not talking about Yahuwah, because if they were talking about him, they'd be following his commandments, and you'd know them by their fruit. Their fruit would be good. Therefore, you know them by the fruit, because their fruit is sour, it's bad, it's spoiled. And so the one enthroned in heaven laughs. Yahuwah scoffs at them, verse 4 says. Verse 5, "Then he rebukes them in his anger and terrifies them in his wrath, saying, I have installed my king on Zion, my holy hill." His Mashiach is in control. His Mashiach is coming back to judge the world. "I will proclaim the decree of the Lord. He said to me, you are my son. Today I have become your father." Verse 8, "Ask of me, and I will make the nations your inheritance, the ends of the earth your possession." Verse 9, You will rule them with an iron scepter. Where have you heard that before? Who rules with the iron scepter? Messiah does. You will dash them to pieces like pottery. Therefore, the kings, you kings, so you, it's saying, of one mind, be wise, be warned, you rulers of the earth. Serve the Lord with fear and rejoice with trembling. Kiss the Son, lest he may be angry, and you be destroyed in your way. For his wrath can flare up in a moment. Blessed are all who take refuge in him. The warning of those with nemine contradicente, of one mind, the hive mentality that's being pushed today. Doesn't matter what sector you're in, and that I mentioned in the beginning of the video. Doesn't matter even if you're a common man or woman that's engulfed or enthralled by what they're pushing. You will be part of his wrath when he comes back, because Messiah is coming back, and he's not coming back as a lamb, he's coming back as a lion, and he is going to unleash his fury or his wrath on those who reject him and embrace the beast system that's coming. So think about that as you go about your weekend today. Think about Psalm 83 verse 5. With a one mind they plot together, they form an alliance against you. This system that's coming is of one mind. Remember that. You don't even have to know all the intricacies of it. Just know that it's of one mind. And it's there for a purpose. They'll give you left and right. They'll let you say, I'm Democrat, I'm Republican, or I'm conservative, I'm liberal. They'll give you that leeway because they want to put you in a box and get you infighting against each other while they continue to form their system and keep you busy. What are they going to do next week? Oh, they're going to arrest Donald Trump. They're going to arrest Vladimir Putin. They're going to do all these great things. Meanwhile, it's the same coin with two sides. So don't believe it. Believe in Scripture. Read your Bibles. Pray and ask for direction and guidance from the Most High through his Bane, his Son, Yahushua HaMashiach. That's my video today. Nemini contradicenti, of one mind. Thank you for joining me. Take care, and Yah bless. Anthony signing off.